screen? Oh, good. I'm glad it's recording. Good. I'm Dennis Robbins. I'm a science educator with curriculum and teaching. I'm also a research associate at the in astrophysics at the American Museum of Natural History. There you see my screenshot of the planetarium. Maybe you've been to it. I am also a member of a CUNY-wide department called Astronomy and Astrophysics. It's not situated in one campus in CUNY. It is situated actually at the American Museum of Natural History, where they actually give us space. I want to talk to you about a course we teach there called Science Thought and Practices, and it captures this idea of science is a verb. So there's a whole bunch of research about the nature of science and defining what it is. This is a course that incorporates that research. It's been supported for 15 years by the National Science Foundation. It's been taught to middle schoolers, to faculty college, faculty college professors. That it's been taught from Washington, D.C. to Seattle, Washington. It was on National Public Radio once. It has some high profile science communication visitors like Bill Nye the Science Guy visited and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Currently, it's actually behind prison walls. The curriculum is being taught to incarcerated individuals. So that's what I want to talk to you about. This idea that science is a verb comes from like a consensus view of the study of science. So a philosophical history, sociology, psychological view of science as a word, where these academic inquiries intersect, we can consider there's a consensus view of what science is, and the curriculum captures the nature of this of this point of view, that science is actually more of a verb than it is a noun. Here's what it looks like when you go to classroom. So here's some shots inside the museum. We teach a course there every spring. You'll see a lot of group work, a lot of contact communication, lots of kinds of equipment. We have paper and pencil activities, but there's a lot of primarily a lot of digital literacy, a lot of computer use. When researchers come in, they compare this course called Science Thought and Practices, or short STP, versus like the traditional. You can look at these columns right here. Here's the comparison. I'll just do a few of these. Like the curricular goals in traditional instruction is you're going after achieved, established, to achieve established conclusions. Things are already there and are known about. But in this kind of interactive teaching, we're looking for data supported conclusions. We want participants to find ideas that are supported by evidence and make an argument for that. Kind of the ownership is lower in the traditional, and the ownership is higher in the interactive view. I'm just kind of skipping through this table. If you want to go right to the bottom, here's where the significant difference. In traditional instruction, it's really the teacher's a transmitter of or a communicator of information. But in the interactive, you're a cultivator, a guide to students' reasoning. Right now, I'm doing the absolutely worst thing about this. I'm lecturing you about this course, about not lecturing. So I know this is going to be ineffective. So, but we can come back to that if you want to see that again. Here's some more shots of students working with each other. They always experience lots of data literacy. They're generating graphical understanding. This is the chief means for communication. Here we are in Central Park on the left. We've been actually researching Central Park for about 10 years. We know more about the water quality and atmospheric science of Central Park, I think, than anybody. And actually, some students have actually published on this. And here you can see it's back indoors. We're very interactive in talking with each other. There's always data being displayed, arguments being made, discussions being had. If I were to capture this consensus view, here's Albert Einstein. He was a real human being. That's what he actually looks like, not the noble guy that you always see. He's just a human being. He had a lot of girlfriends. He's just a human being. The whole science is nothing more than the refinement of everyday thinking. And that's what the curriculum does. We know students, any participants can already think like what we call a scientist. We're just refining it or practicing it. In fact, the word scientist might be a bad idea. All human beings might be this concept, and this has been noticed by some of our participants who have said like all beings are scientists, all human beings are scientists. So I'm lecturing you something about a course that doesn't lecture people. So here's where you find me. There I live. It's on the other side of the museum. Even if you will walk by on the street there, you can yell at me, hey, Dennis, come down and get me. I want to see what this curriculum looks like. I'll come and get you. So it's better experience than me lecturing you about it. Um, if you want some references, there's some references, but I know you'd rather look at the museum, so I'll leave it right there. So thank you, everyone.
So amazing. Thank you, Dennis. Incredible. I'm going to come visit. So good.
Good.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Awesome, awesome. And Christine.
Hi. Well, we have to say konnichiwa to Debbie, who is zooming in from Japan because she's awesome like that. So I'll start by just saying and I think you guys all know that I'm from the TESOL program, and about 35 years ago, the TESOL program started this literacy program. So now there are I think it's 22. Maybe it's not that many. So Debbie, you correct me. Hunter's unique because the TESOL program works with the literacy program, but there are CUNY literacy programs across the CUNYs, right? So there's ones that go from Monday through Friday. Ours is a Saturday program, and it's targeting immigrants specifically. But there are other GED programs and literacy programs across CUNY. But what's unique about Hunter is that 35 years ago, the TESOL program, we're already partnering with this other literacy program. And we have two kind of faces of it. So the way that we did our partnership is that one face, which gets funding from the state, not a whole lot, is the SPELL program. And the way that we distinguish that from another community program, COPE, is that this one, the SPELL one, is for parents or families. We use a kind of loose, if a grandmother or an extended family wants to come and take English classes on Saturdays from 9 to 2 with us, then we're not too strict about that. But the idea is family literacy. And then the parents come and get some insights on what their students, what their children or family members are learning in the P through 12 public schools. And the other kind of unique thing in connection to a School of Ed program is that we only hire our graduates, because adult education, as you might guess, is not, I think it's something like less than 1% of the whole education budget goes to adult learning. So it means that if you graduate from our adult TESOL program, you might not have great prospects for like this high-paying job. So to make sure that teachers have work and that it's connected, because certainly our teachers work during the week, but as a Saturday program that allows alumni to come and work with us. And we have recently had alumni who are K through 12. So sometimes for financial reasons, a graduate of the School of Ed will not do an adult degree, but their heart is there. And so we also hire them as teachers. So, and it's a nice kind of connection. Maybe during the week, a teacher is teaching kindergarten, and then they're working with the parents over the weekend at Hunter and exposing them to those kinds of facilities. The other program is called COPE, and that's where we put our student teachers, because we do have an adult track program. And so they need to practice. And so they practice right at Hunter. Over the years, especially I told you it's 35 years old, but we were really lucky to get Debbie to accept the directing position. And so we've done a lot of innovations that if you do know this program, maybe you don't know the recent kind of developments. So one is that we have something called Chat and Chew. Sorry, hang on a second. And Chat and Chew, it's listed here as tutoring, is a fieldwork site. I should have given you guys this link, but I will when I conclude.
I put it in the chat.
Oh, thanks. So basically we go to West 1000. I think that's the room, right? The big community room.
It's a community room, 1007.
1007, okay, instead of 1000. So people are doing field work with adults. And so if you have any students who need to practice, but they have trouble during the week for various reasons, they can work with an adult. And our adults, as parents, are extremely motivated and like committed, like they won't not show this kind of thing. In fact, we have like maybe 3 students to one tutor because it's a group that doesn't get a lot of access to education, and they're working a lot of, not a lot, but we definitely have a group who are the janitors or staff at Hunter, and they come. We have all kinds of hardworking adults who are coming to this free program, and so you know, they bring their lunch, and then we have programming with tutoring so they can get some one-on-one instruction. And I'm gonna like now pass the mic to Debbie, because there's other things like book clubs, or I just want her to speak a little bit because this is really her work. I'm the faculty liaison, but you know, we have so much that we owe to you,
Thanks,
Debbie.
Christine. I think we're already at 5 minutes, but yeah, I mean, Christine said everything over, I think post-COVID, we really sort of ran with it, you know, making these changes and innovations. And I think the Chat and Chew has become wildly successful for faculty, you know, allowing their adult students and K-12 to do their field work there, but also for our students. And so much so that we have a huge waiting list for this one-on-one tutoring during their lunch break. Because it's not only during the one lunch break, once they get matched with a grad student, they can then work online, you know, via Zoom. So wildly successful. And then the other thing, I don't know if you can click on it, is the book club. That has also been really successful. And unfortunately, because of budget problems, I wasn't able to offer it last semester. But we were able to do it this semester, and that's only for the top 2 levels in spell. So the more advanced students, and this has also been wildly successful. And you can read there on the website that they've used both fiction and nonfiction books, and it really allows these adult students, you know, sort of an agency to speak about works. You know, it's like a huge deal for them to read a book in English. I know we take it all for granted, but it's a big accomplishment. And one of our teachers is actually the facilitator for that, and it meets once a week online. So it's super convenient. And the ones that sign up for it, we cap it at like 15. And usually she has around 12. And those are like really committed, like 12 really strong readers, people who really are, you know, invest in their education. So yeah, I don't want to take up too much more time, but that's it. I mean, we also touch on computer literacy during regular classes, both in Cope and Spell. Yes, and we have a lot of other stuff. We've done clothing drives. We celebrate egg, you know, when the war broke out in Ukraine, we had an influx of Ukrainian students. And so we did a lot of, I tried to engage them and build community. We did an Easter egg decorating thing, and of course, as you can see, the Day of the Dead. Anyway, that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Always amazed at the incredible things that happen that I don't even know about, or that no one
That's
like.
because it's on a Saturday and no one's around.
It's
But
so
yeah, you're always welcome to come.
Oh my gosh, amazing, amazing, amazing. Janette, thank you both so much. Oh my goodness.
This is so great. Just give me a moment here. I'll share my screen. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. So I am actually coming from the biology department, and something that is near and dear to me is the idea of creating experiential learning. I do find great irony that we're all sitting here lecturing to each other, talking about a topic that is about get out and do. But I'm going to talk, I had a lot of things I wanted to talk about. Time is limited, so this is what I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to focus on this tiny earth idea. Okay, so I think in most of our departments, we have course-based undergraduate experiences, but we are not that great, at least in my department, in creating courses that are actually experiential. So there is a program called Tiny Earth that I believe there are 27 countries that participate in, over 800 institutions in the United States at every level from high school through graduate level research that participate in a program called Tiny Earth. And Tiny Earth is the idea of, and Dennis talked about Central Park. We actually sent our students to Central Park too to collect some soil samples with the idea that we are going to isolate microbes that may contribute to antibiotic discovery. You guys may not know, but most of the antibiotics that are available for us came from or were first identified in soil microbes. So they are low-hanging fruit, of which 99% have yet to be identified. So this project, although I've known about it for almost a decade now, it was very hard to implement at Hunter College. So I joined a group that was NSF funded called NSF HSI Project Fresh. Project Fresh stands for First Year Retention and Equity in Science at Hunter. And this program we ran for 2 summers before just this fall, we were able to create a course around it called the Introduction to Research that's going to be cross-listed both in biology and in chemistry. And environmental sciences, we're very excited. Hopefully your departments might have some interest in it. But anyways, we're here to share the idea. 2 other courses that I am not going to be able to talk about today was one that started about a year ago with Rockefeller. We have a lot of students at Hunter. They're all looking for research experience. We just don't have space anymore. And Rockefeller is a graduate institution who have a lot of labs and graduate students who need experience mentoring and teaching. So we created I'll call it Rock X Hunter, but it's through Rock EDU, where the faculty at Rockefeller and their graduate students meet with faculty in, they meet with me in the biology department, and we create a independent research, but group teaching as far as procedures go down at Rockefeller through their Rock EDU program. They have an entire wing dedicated to high school and undergraduate research learning. It's amazing. And it's funded by their resources. And of course, in our department, we also have Hunter faculty guided independent research. That's the more traditional. Students find a singular mentor. They have a project. They work with other undergraduates and through that are able to present their research. Okay, I'm going to move on because of time. So Tiny Earth is actually a student sourcing discovery hub. Okay, so they have a website, and I'm sorry, Gina, I'll also share this with you later. But the Tiny Earth organization provided a lot of research, resources, and even training for their instructors on how to implement any aspect of Tiny Earth to your curriculum. So they train high school and college and adjunct instructors in how to best teach antibiotic research through soil microbe isolation. People can also use Tiny Earth to talk about environmental science and about the earth. We are using it in the chemistry and biological way in order to drive applied student research. Okay, so with HSI Fresh, it is such a cool program. It's an NSF funded program. We are just starting year 4. It encompasses math. It encompasses the Gerbal Science Learning Center, chemistry, biology. A lot of students have become the mentors that drive this program. What Tiny Earth did in this program is we created a 2-week summer experience, just 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, I'm going to show you what our students were able to do. So here's a picture of them in action. They're in one of our newer labs in the biology department. As you guys know, space is at a premium. So finding space to teach this during the school year is almost impossible, but there is lab space in the summer. So we are going to try and continue doing this in the summer as an actual course. But here we are. They come in the afternoons and they do their discovery research. They're here in action in the lab as part of HSI Fresh. They also served as mentors. Now, these are young students. They just finished their freshman year, and here they are. We're asking them to be mentors. So they are near peer mentors to the incoming students to Hunter College, as well as transfer students who come to Hunter in the summer for sort of like a science primer. We give them practice exams, that we have them meet the peer tutors, mentors in Skirball Science Learning Center and at Dulciani Math, so that they feel confident once Hunter gets crowded, and are using the resources that we have for them. Okay, so at the end of not even a week and a half in, I give them this template. This is a generic template. I actually share this template for our undergraduate science conference in the spring. So we see this everywhere. We give them this template, and with the guidance of Simon Lee, who's here, thank you, Simon, for being here on the Zoom. They take the data that they've collected throughout, and they are able then to share it with everybody in a poster session. So I gave them the template, the students filled everything out. Okay, so they worked in teams, they created the scientific method, they're able to use the pictures from the lab, the data that they've collected, they created flowcharts, they create these amazing posters. I think you'll agree. And then at the end of that 2 weeks, we opened it up to the rest of Hunter. So this is a Friday, if you can believe it, in the summer at Hunter College. Maybe it was a Thursday. It was sort of late in the evening. We had all those students that they were mentoring in the morning. We opened it up. We advertised in biology and chemistry, and we said, "Hey, come hear our students talk about their discovery." A lot of students don't get this opportunity until they're 3 years into research, and so we are trying to show them that even in a short amount of time, they are scientists, or everyday learners, as Dennis put it, are scientists, and they too can present their science in this format. Now, this young lady that's on the phone in the middle, she's not actually on her phone. We had all the students actively also providing feedback. So there are QR codes everywhere where they were busy providing feedback and asking questions in case they were too shy or time limited, in order to provide additional feedback to our scientists who were giving the posters. And I know for a fact that she's doing this because that's actually my phone she's borrowing, because her phone had run out of battery. Okay, so in summary, this that I was just sharing with you is part of a Tiny Earth program. That's the global initiative that of which we ran part of here through NHI and NSF HSI Project Fresh. This is proposed as a new course at Hunter College this coming fall called Bio 290, Introduction to Research. So hopefully we'll be running it as an actual course this summer. Let's wait and see. And then there are these two other course-based undergraduate research experiences that we have at Hunter. Those 480 level courses also make our biology major students eligible to graduate with honors. Okay, and then last, I have Simon here. I'm going to thank you publicly, Simon. Simon is an adjunct instructor who teaches both chemistry and biology and is a fan favorite to faculty and students alike. And to Angela Padilla, who's taking that selfie in that picture there. She is the director of the Skirball Science Learning Center.
Amazing. Thank you, Janette. Thank you, Simon. Incredible. And Simon, I don't know if you want to say some words. You've been amazing.
I had a great experience doing this with the students at Hunter. The feedback that I received from them, as well as faculty here, have always been positive, and I plan on working with everyone here for future.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. Again, like, such incredible work that's happening. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Thank you. And Tara as our last presenter, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. I know there's been a request for that template, that research template.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Tara Kirton. I'm a lecturer, a doctoral lecturer in the early childhood program. And I'm going to talk to you about an assignment that shows up in a few courses in our early childhood program. And it's a community walk photo essay. So hopefully you can see my slides on the screen. And hopefully they're big enough, but I'm going to talk you through it. So this is an assignment that a student who graduated last year, she was in my practicum course, so ECC 717, a graduate course, and she was kind enough to offer her photo essay as an example if other students are having a hard time trying to like gather some thoughts around it or just want like a sample to kind of get their ideas generated. So the assignment shows up in both the undergraduate and the graduate program. It appears in the undergraduate and graduate clinical courses for student teaching and for practicum. And this assignment is also in my curriculum course for the graduate students. It's meant to deepen their understanding and their knowledge about a school community that they either work in or for those who are not working yet, that they live in. And it's really meant to help them perhaps get a different perspective about a community that they walk in and out every day, but perhaps haven't had a chance to really look at deeply. So some of the questions that come up would be something around like the types of housing that's available to the community members. We ask about accessibility. So how well can people with disabilities move around the community? Things that indicate if it is or is not a child-friendly community. We also ask them to think about green or natural spaces. And another question or prompt is elders in the community and how they can be identified. So students have several prompts to choose from. They don't have to respond to all of them, but the prompts are there to help them gather some ideas and start to think about what parts of the community they want to highlight. I always try to remind them that they are telling a story through the pictures that they select. So they might want to walk through the community first without using the lens of taking pictures, like just walk through it, see what are you noticing, what's standing out to you. And I often recommend that they choose a different path because a lot of times students will say, well, I walk through the neighborhood every day. What am I going to see that's different? And that's a part of it, right? The point is to help them start to think about it in a different way and to gain a new perspective that perhaps they hadn't noticed because they were rushing to work or they were just kind of moving back and forth throughout their day, not thinking about it with this level of intention. In spring 2025, so at this point, I've taught courses related to this assignment since I started at Hunter in the fall of 2024. So after having a chance to do this the first time with my students, I thought, in spring 2025, I wanted to take a slightly different approach. The thing that's interesting about the courses that I teach, so ECC 703 is a graduate course, it's curriculum, and those students are fairly new to the college. It's usually either their first or second course at Hunter. Whereas the students who are taking it for student teaching or practicum are on their way out of Hunter. They're pretty much wrapping up their coursework. It's a culminating experience that's meant to help them prepare for the HTPA because this is actually a part of task 1 for the HTPA, so the Hunter Teacher Performance Assessment. So I always think about it where I'm teaching these students at like different ends of the spectrum, right? Or different ends. I have the ones who are just coming into Hunter, who are brand new to the college, and the ones who are on their way out. And even now for my 703 course, I have, I'd say probably about 85 to 90% of the students are actively in classrooms, either as paraprofessionals, assistant teachers, or head teachers, or they've had some experience with children either through after school programs or summer camps, but I do have a handful who are career changers. So I'm always thinking about who's in the class, what experiences they've had, and trying to remind them that regardless of what your experience looked like, whether it was in early childhood or not in education at all of those experiences matter. And so really like making sure they understand that their voice may sound a little different from someone who's been in early childhood for 2 to 5 years, but their voice is still required and welcomed in that space. So one of the things I started doing for my curriculum students, because they're so new to the college and I want to help them make more meaning from this experience, I've started previewing the assignment with them. So I take the entire class, We start off in our room, we leave our things, and we just bring our phones so we can take pictures or a little notepad to document some ideas. And we leave Hunter. I tell them, you're welcome to come with me, but you don't have to. And I give them guidelines. The question that always comes up is, how many blocks should I walk? How long should I walk? What should I be looking for? So we talk about the prompts first, and I tell them, let's walk for about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll all meet back in the room by this time. So even if you decide to go off on your own, that's fine. And I ask them not to stay in the same area. So if they start off on Lexington, I tell them, please don't stay on Lexington the whole time. Like go to Third, go to Fifth. Like, there's so many ways that you can experience this, because I try to explain, if you only stay on a certain path, you're limiting what you might see. And if you come to Hunter the same way every time, like your commute looks the same, and then you decide to walk in that same direction, you may see some new things. My hope is that you will look with a fresh perspective, but it's possible that you're really going to kind of hone in on the things that you're used to seeing. So some of the feedback I've gotten ever since doing it this way is students have explained that perhaps they didn't know there were so many schools nearby for early childhood, or they didn't realize there was a park a few blocks away where children gather after school and families are gathering. We found a local library around 67th that was really exciting for students, and they asked me to take them back. They're like, come on, class trip to the library. So that's coming up in a few weeks. But more than anything else, it's really given us a chance to look at the neighborhood through a fresh perspective. And then when they work on the assignment in their local area or in their school community, they have some more insight as to what they should be thinking about. I will say that while this has offered new insights for about 95% of the students, and it's been pretty positive, there is a small minority that have really struggled to identify various community assets based on the prompts that they've selected. So that's something that I've had to really think about. How do I navigate that with them? How do I help them think about whatever deficit lens perspectives they're bringing in and where those may come from? And also importantly, how that might impact their interaction with children and families, because this is connected to, especially for the HTPA portion, it's connected to another assignment that asks students to take a photo essay or a video documentation of their classroom. And then they have to connect the pieces to say how they are thinking about the community and building that into their curriculum, or how they might. So if a student has a deficit lens, which has come up, like I said, in the past, where I had a student who focused mostly on the parking problems and the congestion from traffic. And I said, okay, those are valid. I'm not going to say they're not. Or one student said, well, there's a police station in the area, which is really good because of the amount of crime and the people who live there. And I thought, whoa. But again, these are things that in their mind felt like really, really important and really meaningful. So we had to have a one-on-one to say, let's unpack that a little bit, right? Like people, the children you teach live in this community. So let's go on the walk again. And I want you to reframe it. I want you to think about all of the positive things you see. And so they were able to find local religious institutions and murals about the community painted by people in the community. One person found a community garden that was available, providing free food for anyone who needed it. So that's some of the things that we work through. And again, it's a small group, but it's still, I thought it was important to share that sometimes those things do come up as well. And I think that's about it. I'm going to stop there.
So amazing. I love that you provide them with an exemplar too. Like, here's what it looks like, and take them outside Hunter. Like, amazing. Incredible. Oh my gosh, such incredible work, everybody. This is incredible. So I'm going to take this time to